Greetings, friends. Let's talk about how to grow our Facebook reach organically. So, how can we get more followers and a bigger audience without spending more money? First, why you need to grow a Facebook audience. Okay, well, obviously, it's going to get us more practice to our TPT store. I'm sorry, more traffic to our TPT store or to whatever product or service we're trying to market, whether it's a book or a course or whatever. Having a large audience on Facebook allows you just to hit one button and instantly get lots of eyeballs. But beyond that, there's other benefits to having a large Facebook audience. For one, it gets you a lot of brand recognition. Even if people aren't clicking on your course or TPT product today, they are becoming familiar with you and your brand. They're starting to know, like, and trust you. And so they might become a customer of yours tomorrow. Beyond that, having a nice large audience is going to generate you social proof. It's very impactful and effective when people go to your Facebook page or group and see a large following that instantly gives you credibility, making them more likely to, again, purchase from you. Now, some of you might be saying that you've heard that Facebook is dead. In fact, if you type into Google, Facebook is dead or is Facebook dead, you're going to see a lot of articles and podcasts and YouTube videos suggesting that it just might be. But I'm here to tell you that it is not. It is alive and well, and now is a great time to have a large Facebook audience. Let me show you some statistics. Okay, first, there are 3 billion monthly users on Facebook. That's over a third of all the people on the earth. And remember, there are some large countries and some countries that don't allow Facebook. So for them to still have that many people is astonishing. In fact, there are 2 billion people who log into Facebook every day. And 2/3 of everyone who has a Facebook account logs into Facebook every day. In the United States alone, there are 200 million active users. You see down below that it says there are 300 million active users in India. Some more statistics. 2 out of 3 users visit a business page on Facebook every week, and the average Facebook user clicks on at least 12 ads every month. Facebook is the 3rd most visited website on the entire internet. So think of your big internet sites like Google and YouTube and anything else you can imagine. Facebook is the 3rd most visited, and it has more purchases on its platform than any other platform. And finally, Americans spend 33 minutes a day on Facebook. And for Americans who have the Facebook app, or actually anyone who has the Facebook app on their phone, it is the most used app on that phone. So again, all this is to tell you that Facebook is not dead. It's doing very well. Now, it is true, you might have heard that Facebook is not growing as fast as other platforms, and that's true. The growth that it's receiving, the percentage of growth it's receiving is less than other social media platforms. But I would argue at some point, Facebook can no longer grow at the rate it's been going. In fact, at some point, it really can't grow because it will have captured everybody. I mean, if they had 100% of the people on the earth with a Facebook account, there couldn't be growth, except for the new people being born or coming of age, of course. And so that's why you're seeing this statistic become prevalent, while some of these other social media platforms like TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram, they're growing, but they have room to grow where Facebook really doesn't. It has so many people. Facebook, however, still has the largest revenue of any social media platform. In fact, it has more revenue than the 5 next largest social media platforms combined. So if you look down at the stats at the bottom of this screen, Facebook generated $116 billion in revenue last year and $23 billion in profit. Now, I couldn't find profit statistics for a lot of these social media platforms, so we're just going to stick to revenue. But you see Instagram, which Facebook owns, by the way, had $51 billion of revenue. YouTube had 29 billion, TikTok 11, Twitter 4, Pinterest 2. Facebook is generating significantly more than YouTube, than all these other platforms that you're hearing about. So Facebook is still in a very comfortable position where they're still making money, they're still having a good income, and they're going to be here for a while. Facebook is still the largest social media platform. It is the most profitable. It is the most used. It is the best performing. When you start looking at the statistics for Facebook ads, you get the best return on investment. They're still the most affordable. This means that Facebook is king, and it is the best place for you to grow an audience, a social media audience. Facebook is the platform that you should be focusing your time on. And I'm going to show you some ways that you can effectively do so so that you get a nice large audience with lots of traffic to your products. Real fast about me, my name is Chris Skierski. I am the founder of the website Teach, Create, Sell, which is a website dedicating to helping teacher entrepreneurs and teacher authors generate an income. I do have free resources as well as paid resources to help you do that. Real fast, I just want to point you to the Facebook group there you see on the screen. It's the TPT Side Hustlers Facebook group. That's free, of course. Please come and hang out with us. We do lots of fun and cool stuff in there. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention my newly formed membership, the Mastermind. And there we participate in weekly trainings. We have lots of experts coming in and teaching us about blogging and email marketing and copywriting and all sorts of good stuff. So I hope you'll come check all of that out. Now, before we start talking about Facebook, we have to understand the algorithm. The algorithm is everything on Facebook. I'm sure you've at least heard about it. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the principles, but if you're unfamiliar with what the algorithm is, it is the brain inside of Facebook that tells it what to do. So anytime you see something on Facebook, it's because the algorithm has sent it to you. I mean, think about it. You probably have several hundred friends on Facebook. You probably are following dozens, if not hundreds, of different businesses or pages, yet you only see a few of them. And why is that? Well, that's because the algorithm is pushing things to you based on what it knows about you and what it knows about the content. And so the algorithm is picking up signals, and the algorithm is sending, using that information to send posts and reels and videos to you, the user, that it thinks you will like, that you will engage with and interact with. Of course, the end goal is for it to send advertisements to you. Now, we have to understand how the algorithm works so that we can maximize what we're doing so that our effort is increased so that we have a better chance of getting those eyeballs, getting followers, getting conversions over to our products and our TPT stores. So the algorithm also is constantly changing. They're updating it, they're changing it. Even by the time you watch this video, even if it's a day after I record it, things could have changed. So I'm not going to talk to you about the things that change and what the algorithm's doing today versus what it was doing yesterday. I'm just going to share with you some principles about the algorithm that will remain true. And they also will be true for other social media platforms, by the way, but especially true on Facebook. I'm going to teach you these principles so that you can maximize what you're doing. So let's talk about some principles of the Facebook algorithm. Principle one, and this sounds a little obvious, a little intuitive, but it's worth mentioning, is that Facebook exists to make money. Now, let's think about that a little bit deeper. How does Facebook make money? Because it is, after all, a free social media platform. So it doesn't have a subscription model. You're not paying to be on there. So, but yet it generates all this income. Well, hopefully you know that the majority of Facebook's income is through advertisements. So businesses, profiles, pages, people, influencers, they give Facebook money in order to push their content to users like you and I. And so Facebook, that's how it gets the majority of its income, is through these Facebook advertisements. Principle two, Facebook wants its users to have a good experience, okay? And it's true, you might think that Facebook is evil or that it's trying to do something manipulative, but I mean, it might be, but its end goal is for the user to have a good experience. Now think about why it wants you, the user, not you, the business, but you, the user, to have a positive experience while you're on Facebook. Because if you're having a positive experience, what are you going to do? You're going to stay on Facebook longer, which means you're going to see more advertisements. The longer you stay on Facebook, the more ads you'll see. The more ads you see, the more income Facebook generates. So that's why it's constantly gathering data on you as a Facebook user, because it's trying to figure out what you like so that it can make sure that you continue to see that content. Now, how does Facebook know what I like? Well, there's a couple signals that it picks up on. The first, obviously, is things that I click I like. So if I'm looking at a post or I'm looking at a video or whatever, and I hit the like button, that sends a signal to Facebook and says, ah, he likes this, I'm going to keep pushing things to him. For example, I watch a lot of basketball videos. Now, I don't actually hit like when I watch these videos, but Facebook knows that I'm watching them, and so it sends me more basketball videos to watch. Facebook does not send me rugby videos or golf videos or tennis or bowling or water polo, even though I'm sure there's a bunch of those videos on there. Facebook doesn't push that to me because it's never picked up a signal that I linger on that. So Facebook sees what I like, it sees what I look at, what I linger on. If I'm going through my scroll and I stop and I look, that sends a signal to Facebook that this is something I'm interested in. If I watch a video, Facebook picks up that signal. It's going to send me more videos that are like that. It also likes engagement. So engagement is anytime you interact with a post. That could be hitting the like or hitting the don't like or whatever buttons that they have, but also what you comment on. And this is why sometimes when people get into these arguments on a Facebook post and they're arguing back and forth, that's sending strong signals to Facebook saying this content is engaging. It doesn't know that we're being hostile towards each other or not, although I'm sure it will get there and can pick up on things like the words that we're using. But the fact that more conversation is happening is sending signals to Facebook saying, push this out. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. But if you are creating content that's engaging, that's building conversation, those are strong signals to Facebook that this content is good and it's going to push it even further. Okay, another principle. Facebook has many different ways that you can post content on it. You can check in, you can share an emotion, you can do a live, you can do a video, you can do an image, you can do a series of images or a carousel. You can post just words, you can post words that's a word image with the color in the background. There's so many different ways you can post on Facebook. And Facebook likes it when you use the different types of ways to post. It gives Facebook data. It lets it know that you're a prolific user, that you're engaging fully with the platform. So Facebook picks up on that and it's more likely to help push your content. We know a while ago, Facebook released Facebook Lives. This is probably a couple of years ago now. And all the influencers rushed over to do Facebook Lives because Facebook was pushing that content. So if you posted a video, you might have got some good reach, but if you did that same video, only you did it live, like if I recorded this as a live, Facebook pushed that further because they were trying to grow their Facebook Lives. So use the different ways of posting on Facebook. Facebook will use that. It will help push your content even further if you're using the different ways of posting. Okay, Facebook also likes consistency. Facebook, again, just think back to the principles that we're talking about. It wants the users on the platform. How's it going to keep them there? It needs to show them new and engaging content. If Facebook keeps sending the same image to you over and over again, you're not going to stay very long on that. So it likes new content. It likes consistent content. If I don't show up and post regularly, Facebook isn't going to send strong signals for my brand. For example, my personal Facebook page, I almost never post on it. I really should because I believe that will correlate with my business page and will help that as well. However, because I don't post very often on Facebook, when I do, I don't get a lot of engagement. I'm not getting a lot of eyeballs on my posts because Facebook is getting signals that I'm not going to follow up with those customers with more interesting, engaging content. Whereas my brand or my Facebook groups, those I post in regularly. So Facebook is more likely to push that content to its users or to my followers, even people who aren't my followers, but they suggest it to other people to become my followers because I'm a consistent poster, which means I'm more likely to create engagement and keep people on the platform. Okay, another principle. Facebook promotes different things. This is part of the algorithm constantly changing that I just mentioned. But you will notice if you have a page in a group, sometimes Facebook promotes pages and sometimes it promotes groups. In fact, you've probably seen this if you've ever interacted with Facebook and you've been on a business page. Facebook will say, hey, if you like this page, here's some more pages that you might like. And it'll do that for a while and then it'll stop and then it'll do the same thing for groups. And it'll say, hey, if you like this group, check out these groups. So a little principle here is if you have a page and a group and you're actively posting on both of them consistently, you're going to benefit when Facebook decides to start promoting pages or when it decides to start promoting groups, because you've already positioned yourself as being a prime candidate for Facebook to recommend your page or your group to new users. Okay, another principle. Facebook prioritizes engagement. Now, we did talk about this a little bit already, but we really have to drive this point home. Facebook wants users on the platform. It wants users having positive experiences on the platform, and it wants them to stay on the platform so that it can show them advertisements. So if you are creating engaging content, Facebook is going to like that and push it. Now, I said this earlier, but how does Facebook know that your content is engaging? Well, the signals it's going to pick up on are those three things we were talking about earlier. If someone looks at it for a while, if someone comments on it, or if someone hits the like or the other different emotions that you can click on a post. Now, how many times has this happened to you? This picture, by the way, is a picture of me proposing to my wife in Costa Rica. You see the beach in the background and the waterfall. Now, when this happened, when I posted it, it probably got hundreds and hundreds of likes. And you've probably seen those come through your feed where somebody posts something similar to this big news, you know, a baptism, a new job, a wedding, a birth, whatever, a pregnant, and all of a sudden it's got hundreds and hundreds of likes, and you're looking at somebody's content and you're friends with them, but you haven't seen their content in a long time. Why are you all of a sudden seeing this content? For example, let's say my friend Joe, he got his wife's pregnant, or he got engaged, and he posts a picture like this one, and it says, "She said yes." And everybody starts liking it. And so it shows up on my feed, and I like it, or leave a comment, congratulations. And then I say to myself, wow, how come I haven't talked to Joe in 3 years? How come I've never seen anything on Facebook from him? And I click on his profile and I go and I look and I see he's been posting regularly. Why haven't I seen it? Well, I haven't seen it because I've probably seen 1 or 2 or 3 over the past couple of years, and I never engaged with it. I never commented on it. So Facebook stopped showing it to me. But then this one post that's getting all the likes and all the comments and all the engagement, Facebook is picking up these engagement signals and it's saying, this is engaging material. And so it starts pushing it to more and more of Joe's friends. So that's why you'll get a post like this where, and by the way, the play on words for engagement and engaging content, loving it. Anyways, you'll get a post that all of a sudden shows in your feed because it's got like that Facebook juice, that mojo. And so if you can create content that is engaging, it's going to get pushed to more and more people. Now, what also is true about that is if you comment on this post of mine, you are likely to see another post of mine. For example, I have a friend who's a basketball coach, and I love to comment on in his posts when he posts his team doing things, and I just post something sarcastic and a little bitey. And what's funny is his teammates, they don't know that I'm just picking on my friend, and they get in there and they argue with me. Now I'm not there for the drama. I'm just there to make fun of my friend. But now I get all his posts. Anytime he posts anything, it always comes to me because I'm engaging with him. And that's telling Facebook that this is my friend and I want to see his stuff. So that's a little bit about how the algorithm works for the engagement piece, for the post piece. And hopefully that's starting to ring some bells in how you can get more follows, get more views on your products. Okay. We've mentioned this before, but again, Facebook, another principle, it wants you to stay on the platform. Again, the reason is if you're on the platform, you're more likely to see advertisements. And if you're more likely to see advertisements, that means Facebook is going to make more money off of you. So think about if I'm on the platform for 30 minutes and I see 15 advertisements, so 1 every 2 minutes, and Facebook makes a buck for that, you know, they just made $15 off my 30 minutes of time. However, if I get on Facebook, I see one thing, it's a link to a YouTube video. I pop over onto YouTube, I watch that, and then I stay on YouTube for 30 minutes. Facebook doesn't make any of that money. So it wants me to stay on the platform. And so another principle you need to think about is if you're showing up and posting links to your blog or links to your Instagram page or links to your TPT store, Facebook doesn't like that. It doesn't want you taking people off of their platform onto something else. Now, the exception is sometimes your blogs, your original content, Facebook will promote that. Sometimes the algorithm is saying, hey, this is new and original, we're going to push this. But for the most part, Facebook generally tries to stay away from that because it wants you to stay on the platform. So one thing I'll do is instead of posting a link to my blog, I'll copy and paste the blog into the Facebook post with an image. And then my call to action might be to get my free product on TPT or my paid product or join my email list or whatever I want to do. But Facebook's more likely to push that out because I'm not taking people off of the platform to somewhere else, except I am at the end with the course sign up and stuff like that. But that post will do better than just a link to my blog. And conversely, or in the same vein, I'll end up getting more email subscriptions or more product downloads with that, as opposed to bringing people over to the blog and then the blog sending them over to the email list or the TPT store. Okay, we've mentioned this again before as well, but let's say it again. Facebook favors original content. And this didn't always used to be. You used to be able to grab someone else's content and share it on your page, and then your page would benefit from that person's virality, how much engagement they're getting. Your store or your Facebook page would then pick up on that. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore, but regardless, that's one of those things where the algorithm changes. But regardless of all of that, if you are creating original content, Facebook is going to push that. A lot of the platforms are like this. Pinterest is the same way. It wants you creating original things. Now, that doesn't mean you have to write a new blog post every day or a new email or a new copyright for your email subscription. You can take that same stuff and just change the words a little bit. You can change the images. You can use different images to still create original content. Now, Facebook normally does pick up on if the first paragraphs are the same, just a heads up, and it probably will get better as AI gets better, but you can still use large portions of your blog repeatedly in different posts and then use different images to still create original content and still get some of the benefits of that. Okay, so we've talked about some principles about the Facebook algorithm so that you could understand how it works, why it works, so that you can use that for your benefit, so that you can grow your Facebook audience and you can get more likes and follows over on your TPT store or whatever product you are trying to sell. So here are 5 things you can do today to get more organic traffic. So we're going to grow our Facebook following by doing these 5 things. The first is very obvious. If you haven't done it already, you need to have a Facebook business page for your business. I'm assuming it's for your TPT store, but whatever business you have that has brought you over to this video, you need a business page or like an influencer page that is tied to that. It's not your personal page. It is a page designated for this business. Couple things on that. You need to have a professional picture in the as the profile pic or your logo. I use the store logo, but a lot of people like a nice picture of themselves. I don't consider myself a fairly good-looking person, so I tend not to scare people away from my profile, so I just use the logo. Also, fill out all the information it asks you to do for your business page. It's going to ask you some silly things, some ridiculous things, and you're going to want to think this is stupid and just give up, but don't do that. You're trying to use Facebook and have it help you, so do the things it's asking you to do, even when they seem tedious or not very fun. Also, on your business page, make you have a profile picture, and then you have I think it's called a bumper image or a main image on the page at the top. Make that something that your ideal customer is going to identify with. So don't say like Chris's TPT store. Instead, say something like my students can learn, or every student can learn, or whatever your niche is. If it's English, it's writing the 5-paragraph essay or whatever. But you want your ideal customer to look at it, identify with it, and say, that's me. And you want them to say that's me because they're more likely to click on the follow button for your store. Okay, so step 1, have a Facebook business page, fill it out, and make sure you're using good images as a profile picture and something that your ideal customers will identify with in the, I think it's called the bumper image. Step 2, post to your business page regularly. If you are just starting out, you don't have a lot of followers, we're talking less than 1,000, once or twice a day is plenty. As you grow, you're going to want to increase the times that you're posting. Now, everybody always wants to know, how often do you post? And that, everyone's going to tell you it's subject to change. That's, different for everybody. It's also different during different times of the year or different years because the algorithm's always being updated. My Facebook page has somewhere between 10 and 20,000 followers, I believe, and I'm posting 4 times a day. And I know that I can't go too much less. I can't go down to like 2 posts a day. That's going to, I see a drop in my reach when I do that. But I can't, you also don't want to do a lot because then Facebook is not able to push your content to all of your followers. So you do want to try and be a little bit conservative and not go crazy on the post, but you do want to do it regularly. And as we said, you want to do different types of posts. So I would recommend you posting polls, you posting word images. That a good strategy is when you post a word image to ask people to answer using a GIF. People love that. It gets it's very engaging content. Post memes, post external links. Okay, sometimes sometimes Facebook favors those links to your blog post. You do want to post to your TPT store, but not all the time. That should not be the dominant thing you're posting, because again, that's taking your customers off the platform, making them less likely to, for the algorithm to reward that. However, we got to do that sometimes because the whole goal of having the page is to get people to our store or our product. So post your links, post photos, post questions, post tips and strategies. One thing I will say is when you're thinking through your content calendar and things that you're going to post, you want your ideal customer to be better at their job because they followed you on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media platform you're using. But if they go scrolling through, they should learn from your page. They should learn strategies and tips so that they can be better at whatever it is you're teaching them to be better at. So think about that. Now, that doesn't mean every post is a post that teaches something. Again, we're going to use lots of different types of posts. However, you should be adding value in your posts, and that value isn't buy my stuff. Although that is value, you do add value through your resources, and you need to convey that. But you also have things that you can share that don't require them to make a purchase and still going to add value to them. Not only do you want to add value, you do want to sell from your page. You want to give out your email list, and you want to create familiarity, that know, like, and trust feature. So share personal stuff, pictures of you in the classroom or you doing whatever that your niche is going to identify with. But you want them to come to know you because you're the expert through your page. Okay, I did say this, but every week you need to share a link to your email opt-in. Email is obviously, you guys know, it's a very powerful tool that's going to generate you lots of income. It's the best way to get customers to continue to know, like, and trust you, but also get back to your store and make purchases and more purchases. So if you don't have an email list and email plan that you're marketing, you need to do that. And you should be sharing your email opt-in every week. Okay, number 3, start a Facebook group today, because a Facebook group is going to be one of the best things you can do for your business. I was resistant to this for a long time. I didn't want to start a Facebook group because I felt like it was just something else to do. I've got the Pinterest page, I got the email marketing and the blog and the TPT store and the Facebook business page, and now I got to do a group as well. But the group has been the biggest contributor to my business that I have. And I actually have, I think, the largest Facebook group for my niche, which is for math teachers. And I do generate a lot of views to my TPT store and to my free email opt-ins and my other resources through the group. But the reason a group is so powerful is it's a community for your ideal customers that you get to establish the parameters, and you get to use that group to try and transform hearts and minds into your ideal customers. I want to say this before I forget it, is that, Facebook groups, Mark Zuckerberg has come out repeatedly and said that he loves Facebook groups. He wants to keep them unadulterated, organic, the way that they are. Facebook groups are the only place on Facebook that you can go and you will never see an advertisement. And as long as Mark Zuckerberg is the CEO of Facebook, he said it's going to remain that way. So he likes Facebook groups. Facebook promotes their groups. You know, they used to do all those commercials for them and stuff. And it's a powerful place that you're going to build a community. And that community that you build, what's cool about it is you're going to be the expert. Just because you have the group, you are the expert. And because you're the expert and it's your group, you get to establish what is the things that we all believe in here. Let me give you an example of that. When I started my group, I used to post often on how much homework should you give? And normally the poll that came back was the national recommendation from the US Department of Education, which is 10 minutes per night times the grade level. So a third grader should have 30 minutes a night, fifth grader should have 50 minutes a night, etc. Now, I disagree with that, and this is not a conversation on our beliefs on homework and its efficacy. My point is, in my Facebook group, I continue to post things about my beliefs on homework and why it should be less. And today, the group is 10 times, 100 times larger than it used to be. And the majority of people have now moved from the belief of, you know, agreeing with the US Department of Education over to mine. In fact, now when I post that poll, the vast majority of people come to say almost none or none. So again, we're not talking about homework. We're talking about the fact that having a Facebook group allowed me to change people's minds just by showing up regularly and sharing information and adding value. And then if I had a service or product that went with that, which I don't, but that would be really good. And that would have been a way to capitalize on that. Okay, in your Facebook group, you need to make it a community. People are showing up there for a community. They want to be part of something, so make it something. Imagine if you were to invite someone to a party and they came to your house and there's like all these people there, or wherever you're having your venue, and there's all these people there, and then you got up on the microphone and you're like, all right, I'm going to talk to you about this product, and I'm going to talk to you about this product and this product, and you just posted products the whole time. Everyone would leave that party, they're like, this is lame. Your Facebook group, it needs to be like that, like a party. So you need to be creating opportunities for people to network together, for them to dialogue, for them to share ideas, for them to learn from each other. You need to be providing mentorship opportunities. There's lots of things you can do inside a Facebook group to make it a valuable experience for your users. Now, that doesn't mean that we never post our products or our email opt-ins or our courses or books or whatever, but it means that that is not the majority of the content that is happening there. So things you can post, it's kind of similar to what I said earlier, but ask questions, you know, and you can set those up different ways. For example, I could post how much homework should kids have a night. I could post a poll, how much homework should kids have a night, and then put different answers in the poll. I could do like a fill in the blank. Kids should have blank number of minutes of homework every night. Just different ways of framing the question to try and get different answers. A good one is to say, how much homework should kids have a night? Answer with a GIF or emoji. People love to answer that. Okay, ask people to share. When you post a question, go in and hit the @ symbol and see whose name pops up, especially if your group's just getting started, and tag several people and ask them to share their thoughts. Again, you're trying to promote that engagement. Tag members and ask, oh, I said that, tag the members and ask their input. Post conversation starters, we were just talking about that. Create opportunities for networking, post memes, images, GIFs, studies, information. Again, you want the group experience to be a valuable one. Think about this, by the way. When people are looking at groups, like if you were to go into Facebook and type in groups, and then you type, or go to the groups button and then type in like English teachers or math teachers or whatever, you only get to see a few things. You get to see the image of the group, you get to see how many members it has and how active it is. How many times are people posting content? So if you can help that along, you definitely should be doing that, especially when you're just at the beginning, when your group's small. It can be such a fun and rewarding experience to create community. Now my group is so large, it's very hard for us to connect because there's just too many of us. So it is a cool place, especially when you're beginning. One last strategy, practice making memes. I'm gonna share a little mini book with you on how to make memes, but I'm gonna give you a brief snippet here. And And the reason is memes are super powerful. They succinctly convey a message, often comedically, sometimes not comedically, that resonates in people's minds. Memes are very memorable. They stick with people. They're shareable. People love to share them, and that's a great way to get more follows to your page, more follows in your group, and things like that. So if you can get in the habit of making memes, it will benefit you and your business greatly. You will definitely grow your audience. Okay, so here's a meme I created. I got this idea from a TED Talks from Solomon Kahn from Khan's Academy. He, in his talks, talked about how in teaching math, we treat it like teaching a kid to ride a bike. And he said, imagine if a kid was riding a bike and he failed, and you gave him a C or a D, and then you said, okay, here's a unicycle. You progressed him to the next standard before he was ready. He said, but that's how education works. And that resonated with me, and that goes along with my course that I offer. And so what I did was I made this meme. I found a picture of a guy falling off a unicycle that I could use, by the way. And then I just put, you see, it's just 2 sentences on there. Help your students succeed by not progressing them to the next skill until they've mastered the first, okay? Short, simple, sweet, direct, to the point. And if you look in the body of this post, you see there's a lot of words. There's a lot. And at the end of this post, there is a link to my free course. So they have to give me their email to get into the course. When I post this, and I'll do it every 6 months or so, I will get hundreds of people signing up onto my email list from this one post. It'll get shared over 100 times. I will have hundreds of comments. A lot of them will be nasty, and that's okay, because we said the nasty comments still are engagement. It still sends those signals to Facebook. But this meme does very well for me. And you see, it is not funny. So how did I come up with this? An idea resonated with me. I was able to identify something core about the beliefs of my product or my service, and I was able to say it in a 1-sentence line with an image that helped support that thought. Okay. Another meme I made, I guess this might be more of a cartoon strip than a meme. I believe this is a Dilbert comic strip. But what I did was, some of you guys remember a while back, fidget spinners were super popular, and they were just annoying the tar out of us as teachers. And one teacher said to me in the break room, he said, yeah, these kids, their parents said that they bought them a fidget spinner to help them pay attention in school. And I just thought, yeah, if they really wanted to do well in school, you should buy them pencils and paper, because the kid always comes to school without, supplies. And this just cracked me up. What he said made me laugh so hard. I wrote it down. Then I went and found an image of a parent-teacher conference. I put the image of the fidget spinner in there to kind of help, identify what we're talking about. Just like in the previous meme, I wrote math teacher nice and big to try to draw your eye to that so that my right customers are looking at it. Here's the fidget spinner. And then you see, I just kind of encapsulated what he said. Something was funny, and then I found a way to say it through a one scene image. And of course, I did borrow someone else's artwork, which helped. Okay, one other thing I want you to know about memes is or images or anything you post on Facebook, is when people hit like, you can hit that like button from your page and you can see all the people who've liked it. And you can see here, this is my list of people who've liked. Now you see the second name there, R-O-B-Y, I'm gonna guess that's Robin. I've tried to block it all out, but she does not yet follow my Facebook page. So I can click that button and I can invite her to follow my page. If you look down at the fourth name there, Elaine, you see I did. I clicked the button and invited her to follow my page. And what happens is those people receive a notification when they log into Facebook that says, Chris has invited you to follow Rethink Math Teacher. Now, what's most likely going to happen is they're going to click on Rethink Math Teacher. They're going to get to the top. What are they going to see? My bumper image, which is something that I want them to identify with, which we talked about earlier. And then they're going to scroll down just a little bit and see a few of the things I've posted, and they're going to make a decision on whether or not they want to follow my brand. But all that is to say, to review everything we've mentioned, but also to say that if you can get a lot of likes on an image, Facebook will start to push it to more people who don't already like and follow your brand. Besides, other people will share it in places for you, their groups or their pages. So it gets, again, more traffic that are not already followers of your brand. You have an opportunity to invite them to follow your brand and thus grow your reach. Okay, So when you're trying to make a meme, and we get further in detail in this in the book that I've provided as the resource for the upgrade in this course or in this conference, but I want you to ask yourself a few questions. First, ask yourself, who is your ideal customer? Identify them succinctly. Don't say teacher. Math teacher is probably still too broad. I try and teach the people who come through my course on how to start selling on Teachers Pay Teachers, how to make your first $1,000. I teach them to go 2 levels deep. So 6th grade math teacher who specializes in whatever, students with ESOL, students with learning disabilities, differentiated instruction, small groups, whatever, remediation. But try and think of 2 levels of who your ideal customer is. Once you've identified that, ask yourself, what does he or she want? Okay, they want to reach their lowest students. They want to have a enjoyable lesson plan or an engaging lesson plan. They want their students to think critically about how to solve the problems. Whatever it is, identify one thing, and it really should tie into a person's core needs. Our core needs are things like finances, time, resources, peace, love. Okay, so we want to address that when we're thinking about our customers' core needs. And then we want to think about what is preventing him from reaching his goals. Our math teacher who wants to reach his lowest students because he wants every student to feel successful because he's benevolent and loving, right? What's preventing him from reaching his goals? Classroom management, right? The kids in the back of the room misbehaving, or prerequisite skills, the students still don't know their times tables, or something like that. And think about that through the lens of your niche. And then take that hindrance, that obstacle that's preventing them from learning or from reaching their goal, your teacher from reaching their goal, personify the villain. So in the example I just gave, where it's classroom management, the distraction, he sneaks into the room. He is the distraction, not the bad student, okay? He sneaks into the room, and just as you're about to do something, he gets everybody off task. He whispers in people's ears. He makes flamboyant motions to try and get everybody to look at them instead of you. And you, the seller, the TPT seller, you have a resource that's going to defeat that distraction, that villain that you've personified, okay? So this is how we can, by talking like this and thinking like this, and I'd encourage you to write these ideas down, you can start to think of a meme. And what you're then going to do is start to look for images or think about common images that reflect what we're talking about. That guy coming into the room and calling my students away from my lesson, it's going to benefit their life. Okay, some quick images that immediately come to mind. I mean, Bilbo Baggins, right? The ring, calling to him. Does that not sound like distractions in your classroom, calling to your students? They just become entranced with it. That's the only voice they hear is whatever distraction is in the room, the kid or whatever, the bee that flew into the room. I really like this one at the bottom, Mufasa and Scar. Yeah, Scar. And I could just see Scar being the distraction and Mufasa being my lesson plan, and him grabbing my lesson plan and saying, your kids are not learning today. And just throwing my lesson plan right off a cliff. I mean, those are how you generate your memes. So again, when you start to talk about your product, your ideal customer, their wants, and the hindrance that's keeping them from their wants in this type of language, memes can start to come to your mind. And so you can do funny memes like these that we're talking about, where Darth Vader comes in and he's got that voice and he says, something distracting, or Luke, you will not learn today, or whatever. Or the ring calling, he's the precious. There's a million ways we could go with this. And you just want to frame it in the language of the villain and the hero, the teacher, who's trying to get what they want, but the villain's preventing them from doing that. Or the student trying to get what they want, but the villain is distracting them from doing that. And that's a good way to start comedically or even pop culturally thinking about the problem that your product solves. And so this is Board Teachers. If you don't follow them, you definitely should. They make a million great memes. But here's another strategy. It's just think of a shared experience that teachers in your niche can identify with. Broken copier machines. Every teacher can identify with that. I created a meme of Chef Gordon Ramsay, And at the top, the image is him screaming and yelling at people like he does. And at the top, it says, every math teacher trying to help their students learn slope. And then at the bottom, it just says, it's just counting. Because as math teachers, we've all had that, middle school math teachers, where we're trying to get our students to calculate slope. All you have to do is count change represented on a graph. And the kids look at you like, I don't get it, I don't get it. And after 3 days, you're pulling your hair out and you just get so mad and you yell at your kids, it's just counting. Every math teacher, I don't care what language you speak, we've all had this experience where we yell at our kids that slope is just counting. How can you not count? Okay. Well, then I thought that was funny. I knew it was a shared experience that middle school math teachers would identify with. So I just looked for an image that would show frustration, show someone getting mad, show someone yelling rudely at somebody else. Chef Gordon Ramsay popped right up. Okay. Another thing you can do is to think about your main idea. So I talked to you a little bit about some of the core concepts that my brand teaches. One of them is that I emphasize that it is more important for your students to understand the content you've taught than to try and get through the entire content in a year. Now, I got this. This is from a common objection. So you can use common objections as a means to identify a meme to overcome obstacles. So I am trying to overcome objections through this meme, but I'm also trying to teach something. And that is my values, what I think is important for math teachers to do. I think it's important to not try and push through the whole curriculum in a year, but instead to try and help your students master the one thing you're teaching and give them as much time and practice as they need until they get it and then move on. And I argue that doing so, you will actually have better standardized test scores. When I tell this to teachers, they always say, oh, but the test is over the whole curriculum. And I say, yeah, but if they know 3 concepts instead of 0, they will do better. So it's better to take your time and spend all your time getting them to master a few than try and get them to see the whole thing and not master any of it. So now that I've articulated a core belief in my business, how do I encapsulate that in one image? Okay, it was not easy to come up with, but I thought about a bar graph because we're talking about test scores. And I used the colors. I've actually cross-post tested this, cross-tested, whatever the word is, where I posted it with different colors, different images, black and white. This is the best one. Red with the low graph, green with a high graph, boy cheering, the girl sad. And then you see at the top, it says my teacher real big because I want people scrolling through to say, oh, teacher, I'm a teacher, and look at this. And then I try and very succinctly summarize the main idea through just a couple sentences on the image, which you can see how I did. Again, you can see this one, and I post this every couple months, 6 months or so. You can see it had 365 shares. Okay, that was not all me, although I'm not gonna lie, I shared it, a few times in some different groups. But you can see this one has 2.4 thousand likes and 72 comments. That doesn't count all the likes and comments it's getting inside of groups or on other people's pages. But I do get that engagement and that brand recognition. So that is a little bit about memes. Oh, here's one more meme. I'm not going to spend too much time in it, but again, this is a main idea I'm trying to teach is the value of immediate feedback, that immediate feedback should happen right away. The objection I get from most teachers is I go over homework the next day. And I always argue that the next day is not immediate. Immediate is immediate. And I try and help teachers wrap their heads around what all has happened from the time they left your class yesterday to the time they got in your class today, including the fact they went to 7 other classes or 6 other classes, learned science, they learned English, they learned, social studies and capitals and all this other stuff. They went to play practice or basketball practice, went home, whatever's happening there. They don't remember that stuff by the time, they don't remember your lesson yesterday by the time they're back today. I mean, they can, you know what I mean. Anyways, so I argue that immediate feedback is immediate. So how could I articulate that? Well, this is a very, it's a very snarky, a very bitey way of saying it, that going over homework the next day in class is not immediate feedback. You would not believe the death threats I get when I post this. I mean, people telling me I'm the dumbest person ever and I've never been in a classroom and all these other terrible things. Again, I don't roll in the mud with the pigs, because when you roll in the mud with the pigs, the pig and you both get muddy, but the pig enjoys it. I don't want to be the pig, so I don't get into it. But if I did get in there and say, no, you're an idiot, you're the one who's never been in the classroom, and then this guy and I went back and forth 10 times, imagine how much more push this post would have from me engaging that way. So I'm not encouraging you to do that, but I am reminding you of how the algorithm works. But that is to say, you can make a meme. It doesn't have to be funny. It can be educational. It should get people's attention. It should make a statement, take a position. When you do that, you will get the engagement that we're talking about. Your page will grow, your customers will grow. Some of you might be thinking, yeah, but it'll also detract a lot of people. And that's true. This post gets a lot of people off my page. A lot of people might unfollow me. That's okay, because when you repel some, you attract others, and those who are with you are further entrenched with you. And if they're in my group and I'm posting this stuff, I'm helping get them over to my way of thinking anyways. Okay, I did mention that there is the book. It's called Let's Make a Meme. It's a mini book. It's not huge. It's like 12 pages. And I'm going to walk you through in a little bit more detail on how to make a meme. We're going to do the exercise together. Of course, it is in print. I'm not actually going to be there with you doing it, but we're going to build a meme that's going to bring people to your page, to your group, get good engagement, grow your reach. And then one last thing, or maybe two last things, I do want to invite you to my Facebook group, TPT Side Hustlers. We got all sorts of good stuff going on there. And then, of course, I do have the membership going on right now that I mentioned. We have experts coming in there and doing teachings and Q&As. And I do expert training, or I do a training every week with people. We talk about things like this. We talk about email marketing and blogging. It's got all sorts of great resources in there to grow your income, to grow your reach, to increase your influence so that you can be a better TPT seller and create more income for yourself so you can have a better life. All right, again, my name is Chris Skierski from Teach, Create, Sell. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed it.